Welcome inside the studio with Hubbard Street Dance Chicago. It was literally only a year ago that I came here for the first time to stage Sweet Gwen Sweet, and walking in the first day it was all jitters and no one knew each other, and now it's open arms and big hugs, and it was amazing. This is a solo that started in 1978 in the original cast of Dancin, and I'm trying to bring it back to sort of its roots.
It's really special to have Percussion IV come back for so many reasons. It brings me back to when I was in the company back in the late 80s, early 90s. And this was my first encounter with Gwen Verdon. She came in to stage Percussion IV on the company. I was not allowed to perform the work because it was gendered. It was a male solo at the time, and I think the company performed it as a trio. And because I liked to jump and turn, and there are plenty in Percussion IV, Ms. Verdon let me be in the room. So it's another full circle moment, not just for me, but for the company to be doing this work again.
I was lucky enough to be in the original workshop for Dancin, so I was actually, as they say, in the room where it happened. And this was done originally on Charles Ward, who was a principal with American Ballet Theatre. So Bob had an incredible dancer to work with, so you will see that in this work. It's very challenging technically. But what is exciting to me is sort of getting back to the original intention of the piece. It was originally rather dark, and it has a very big emotional arc to it. So very different from Sweet Gwen Sweet, which is fun and humorous. So I'm asking a lot of the dancers from sort of an acting point of view, and bringing themselves and some of their inner emotions out. So it's been a kind of exhausting week physically and emotionally and mentally, I think, for everyone.
I was a part of Sweet Gwen Sweet last year, but it's a completely different work. Everything about the piece is opposite. It's much more intense, it's much more physical, it's leaping across the space. Sweet Gwen Sweet was very refined and withheld. This piece explodes.
Linda's really good at giving us the space to bring ourselves into it, but with her attention to detail, we're still able to find that balance of honoring the details, but also honoring ourselves in the work. And at the end of the day, it is still a solo. So every person's version is going to be completely different. And that's what makes her as a leader in the front of the room so special, because she's able to cater to who you are as a person while also honoring the Fosse legacy and honoring the Fosse work.
I think I would love for audiences to get into the versatility of Gwen Verdon and Bob Fosse's work, right? It's not just this one thing. It's so many levels that they can get in on.
Where I was asking for sort of a wry humor and thing in Sweet Gwen Sweet, this I'm asking them to dig really deep into sort of a more vulnerable, raw, sort of emotional place. It's really about something that I think is kind of universal, that no matter what you do, we've all felt this, but when you feel like no matter what you do, it's just not good enough. And whether that's coming from outside sources telling you, or sometimes it's coming from inside of you, questioning whether you're good enough, the dancer has to really be at the peak of feeling that emotion, which can be very frustrating to feel that way. It can also make you very angry, depending on where that information is coming from.
It's also just really asking us to tap back into our technique. Jazz technique, ballet technique, modern technique is all in this piece. So getting the opportunity to tap back into it is exciting.
It's exciting.
But it's the most challenging thing I've done in a while.
Yeah.
But it's really about perseverance. It's about courage, that little voice in our heads that says we can't do it and we're not good enough, right? So the audience, I think, can kind of get in on multiple levels. You can get razzled and dazzled by all the prowess that they're going to see, But also, how do you bring that back to your own humanity when you have to do tough things, right? And you hear that voice inside your head that says that you can't do it. And how do these dancers overcome?
One of the challenges of rehearsing this piece is it's technically so demanding. You can't do it more than a couple times a day full out. It's just physically, you would just have to be carried out. I mean, it's that difficult. So the last hour and a half yesterday, we really worked on just sort of the acting moments. We worked on the beginning and the end. And it was a beautiful, moving experience because everyone was willing to just kind of feel raw and exposed, and that's what it's about.
There's a sort of small acting moment at the beginning of the piece that establishes the context, and we didn't tack that on until yesterday when we had already learned all of the piece, and adding that on made the whole rest of the piece make sense. And I love that Linda H. waited to teach us that moment, because it was sort of like a final puzzle piece coming into frame. And I think that was just another moment of me being so inspired by her, because her pacing and her decision to wait to give certain pieces of information until we're ready is just really, really incredible.
It's been incredible to see the dancers take it on, you know, and really get into it. Like all of the things that the Hubbard Street dancers take on, they're so invested in everything. They don't have any kind of hierarchical factions about how to approach jazz or ballet or hip hop or anything. They just go all in. And it's really wonderful to have Linda Haberman back in the studio, and she works so well with the dancers, and she has such a deep history with Bob Fosse and Gwen Verdon, and so her able to share those things with the dancers is really helpful as well.
I will also cherish watching everyone conquer the things that are challenging. Mm-hmm. And when you're able to watch that experience of people just kind of conquering a la Seconde turns, mm-hmm. or conquering floor work, or conquering all of these random pirouettes that we have to do, the second one person gets it and we're all like, yeah! It's like a really satisfying thing to watch, and it's a memory that's going to continue, because this piece is never going to get easier. We're just going to find different challenges throughout.
So I think as a legacy company, as a company that we are, right, it was founded in 1977, it's really nice to have these anchors and things that bring us back to how we got here in the first place. Lou Conte was highly influenced by Bob Fosse. It was one of his heroes, somebody who he was inspired by. So there's no better way to do that than the Verdon Fosse Legacy. Like, what, are you kidding me? They're entrusting us to do Bob Fosse and Gwen Verdon's work. It's incredibly special, and I think it really helps define who we are.
You know, there's no outlet for a lot of this work. It was done years ago. It's not going to be done on Broadway. It came from various sources. So to find, to mold it into a concert setting and have it performed by the dancers of Hubbard Street, it's perfect.